I have a frame, and I'm gonna let you know how to make a professional movement, smooth graph, and a premium look, like I did in my previous project. And I can guarantee that if you follow these instructions on your own work, after this video, you're capable to turn any boring frame to a masterpiece. You can also find a full project file of this intro and a Higgsfield project file on the first two links. And like always, don't forget that your best support will be a like, comment, and a subscribe to my channel. Basically, every motion has a unique structure. So let's break them down and then apply it to our frame as a practice. So for the first type, regularly, they look like this. Smooth with a specific zero movement moment. Just do your keyframes and do F9 or easy ease on it. But sometimes you want to remove the zero moment and just slow it down. And that's the time that it comes up with a continuous keyframe. For instance, let's say we have some simple movement with three main keyframes. So far, everything is flat, but let's select everything and just do F9. Or we can do an easy ease from keyframe assistant. So let's select all the keyframe and open up the graph editor. And if we double click at the middle keyframe and make it continuous keyframe, then we can easily hold the shift from our keyboard and just push it to the top. And as you see, we're not gonna have any zero moment anymore. The more you raise this point, the faster the process will be. But what if I want to just lead the path? And that's the time that we can come up with the concept of Rove Across Time. So again, we're gonna have three main keyframe, and the structure of that will be something like this. But before I go further, I'm gonna grab pen tool and do some curve down here for the path. So far we're gonna have some structure like this. But let me just select all the keyframe and do a F9 on those. So we're gonna have some zero moment, and of course it's gonna consider this middle keyframe. And maybe because we know about the continuous keyframe, you might think that we can do a continuous keyframe for these middle keyframe and then just push it to the top till they get completely faded. And of course it'll fix the problem over here. But what if we have some complicated keyframe structure? Or what if I want to apply some different type of graph for that? Like something fast at the first and slow at the end. As you see, we completely ruined the graph down here. And if we also make these two continuous and push it to the top, the structure of the graph will be completely changed. And we're not gonna have that movement style anymore. And that's the time that we're gonna use the concept of Rove Across Time. So the only things that you have to do is just select the middle keyframe, click right on it, and open up the keyframe interpolation. Once you're coming over here, you just need to open up the roving and then put it on a Rove Across Time. And when you apply it on your keyframe, you see that your keyframe turn into a circle shape. And over here, you just need to fix your graph again and then play with the keyframe. Maybe I'm gonna go for 2500, which is really fast at the first and slow at the end. And as you see, it doesn't consider the middle keyframe as a movement, and it just considers it for leading the path. It doesn't matter what type of graph are you gonna apply to your movement. Whatever you do, it will change your middle keyframe or any of those keyframes that you turn them to Rove Across Time, and just try to make them compatible with your graph style. So let's wrap it up with the final keyframe type. If you're looking for something glitchy or something like stop motion, you need to use these hold keyframes. So right now, again, we have that three main keyframe, and as you see, the process is completely flat. So let me just select all of these keyframes again and make them hold keyframe. But you open up keyframe interpolation again and just put them on a hold keyframe. And once I apply it down here, you see that between these two keyframes, nothing will be happen. But once I reach the last keyframe, everything will happen exactly on that keyframe suddenly. And that's how it comes up with some visual like this on my Higgsfield project. I just add some scale and position on a whole type keyframe. Alright partner, let's hop into our project that we were talking about it. So in this way, I'm gonna mention some rules that if you committed to those rules, I can guarantee that you can make the best motion for whatever you want to make. So I'm gonna put a keyframe and go 10 frames forward and other key. And on the first keyframe, I'm gonna push it down and then maybe give it a little bit of rotation. About 3 or 4 will be good. So then I'm gonna hold Alt, click on a toggle animation, and easily drop the expression that you can find it on my Discord channel. And after you've done that, you see that you have some bouncy animation down here, which is exactly what we want. And for the last step for the folder, what we were trying to do is just adding the opacity, but it's only 5 frames. So I'm gonna put a keyframe, go 5 frames forward, and then add another keyframe. And in the first keyframe, we're gonna turn the opacity about 0. So for the first step, we have to enter this in with this cursor 20 to 40 frame. And exactly down here, I'm gonna put some keyframe and come back to the first keyframe. So for the first keyframe, I'm gonna push it out of the frame, and in the last keyframe, I'm gonna put it in the right place, which is gonna be down here. You have to give it a bit of rotation to be able to make sure it's gonna be in the right place. And make sure whenever you're doing a motion for anything, just grab your pen tool and give the path a little bit of curve. Give it a rotation and put it in the right place, so it will follow along the path. But the most important things, which is gonna be the first rule that I'm gonna mention in this video, is the graph style. Whenever you wanna enter your scene, just make sure you're using a graph which is fast at the first, and then gradually it gets slower. So I'm gonna do the exact same things by using a tool that I'm always using it motion for, and you can find it for completely free on my Discord channel. So I'm gonna give it a 2500, which is fast at first and then slow at the end. Over here, I'm gonna mention the second important rule. Don't let your keyframe rest and try to keep the flow. Whenever you're trying to do some motion, make sure after you've done your motion on your layer, connect it to a new null object. It would be better if you use a tools like Motion 4, because whenever you make a null object, it will put the anchor point in exact same place that you already put your anchor point for your main layer. But if you're gonna make it manually, just make sure that you're gonna move the anchor point in the same exact spot that you have it in your original shape. Over here, we're gonna simulate that clicking animation. It just do a position and a scale keyframe. Go about 10 frames forward and do another keyframe for them. Then again, go 10 frames forward and put another keyframe. And I can easily do my animation at the middle keyframe. So I'm gonna move the cursor to the right place. So I'll put some keyframe for the rotation in the same exact spot. And then I can also add some rotation for that. For completing our simulation, we need to adjust the graph, and that's gonna be the most important things that we're gonna do in this video. So I'm gonna select all the keyframe and hit F9. So then I can open up the graph editor, and if I just click down here, I can fit it to our composition down here. I just want to remove the scale down here. So I'm gonna select position and then the rotation, so I'm gonna play with both of them. So I'm gonna have something fast at the middle and a slow at the edges. So I'm gonna put this one at 15 and also the other side on 15. And for the edges, what I have to do is just turn it to somewhere around 80 or 85. Also the same things for the other side. But I think it would be better if you make it more faster. So I'm gonna turn this to about 5 or 6 and these two around 95. And I think this is much more better. So far everything was pretty good. And the things that we have to do is just making the same simulation for the folder. And over here, I'm gonna add some other rule to the previous rules. Whenever you're doing motion, just think about the reaction. So I'm gonna click the folder, and also I'm gonna do a rotation and a scale for over here in the same exact spot. So I did the keyframe down here, and I'm gonna come back to the first keyframe, which is gonna be the momentum for us. So I'm gonna turn it to somewhere around -3, and then maybe scale it down a bit. You just need to easily select the keyframe and position, just move it a little bit forward. Make sure it's gonna hit the folder. And then as you see, we already have the expression and rotation. So the only things that we have to do, copy this expression, and paste it on a scale as well. And the thing is, I think it's too slow. And for fixing that, we just need to make the keyframes a little bit closer to each other. And for doing that, push everything to over here, then 5 frames forward, and then push everything backward. You can just turn down the scale a little bit to make it much more better. But just make sure you're gonna adjust the position as well. Maybe a little bit after that moment, I just want to copy all of these keyframes and then paste it again over here to do it one more time again. The next step would be the alarm that it's gonna popping up down here. So for doing that, I'm gonna do a square down here. Just turn the color to same exact color down here. So I'm gonna grab a reference color from this one and just apply it on my square. Maybe I'm gonna play with the roundness and make it perfectly round. I need to add a text that is gonna be impossible. And for the font, I'm gonna go for SF Pro bold version. And for the color, I'm gonna make it black. Maybe hold the control and move it to the center, so let it snap to the center of that shape. So we just need to select both of them and do Control Alt Shift Home and Control Home to make it center. Click right on it and pre-comp it. So for making the look a little bit better, what I'm gonna do is just adding a declow to that, but it's literally bad, so I'm gonna give it the lower radius and a little bit lower exposure. Then I can open up the input and play with the input till I get the better result. Grabbing this and push a little bit forward, and first of all, we're gonna push it down here and do a keyframe for the position, rotation, and a scale. And then go 10 frames forward, push it to the right place, maybe adjust the curve a little bit, and also put a keyframe for the scale and rotation. And for the first frame, we're gonna turn the rotation around -3, or it would be better to put it on 4 maybe, and scale it down a bit. And as you see, we're gonna have some boring things down here. And easily apply the same exact expression to all of these properties. And if you play it, you're gonna be able to come out with something like this, which is pretty smooth and exactly what we want. If you wanna have more rotation, you can just add a little bit of more rotation. And when it's reaching down here, we're gonna put some opacity for it. Slightly turn it down. If you want, you can make it a little bit less or play with it and adjust it till you get the best result. Now, I don't want to do it again, so I just want to cut it out from here and use it multiple times. So again, I'm going to find the previous time that I did the click, just duplicate this one with Control D and push it to the right place. So I'm going to have the same exact things, and then let's select these two keyframes and hit U from my keyboard. What I'm going to do is just connecting this null object to a new null object. So after I connect this null object to a new null object, I need to just make sure about the anchor point like always. So I'm going to put the anchor point right place, do the first keyframe for the position, 40 frame forward, and do another keyframe, 40 frame forward and another keyframe. So when you did it, we're gonna get back to the middle keyframe and push it to around over here, maybe at the center of this folder. Correct, you can just click over here and turn on the title action save. The Control R, grab your ruler, just add a guideline to over here. And then for the last keyframe, I'm gonna push it to around here. And I'm also gonna do the same exact keyframe for the rotation in the same exact area. But I don't want this center keyframe down here. I just need the last and first. I'm gonna grab the pen tool, do the curve. I'm gonna click right on a keyframe, go inside the keyframe interpolation, and turn it to Rove Across Time. Right now, you can easily apply your graph. Make sure you're gonna turn the graph something better and proper. So I just want to combine these two keyframes together, never let anything rest inside your scene. So I'm gonna hit U on this layer as well to bring up those keyframes and just select everything and paste it over here again. And what we're gonna do is just go 10 frames forward and repeat it again, and then 5 frames forward and repeat it again. But the thing is, when we go forward for 5 frames and copy this down here, we have to just hold the Alt and just make these keyframes a little bit closer to each other. And then we're gonna go 1 frame forward and repeat this multiple times like I did. You can again hold the Alt and just make this one a little bit closer as well, then repeat this process again and again for some time. So I'm gonna duplicate this one with Control D and again push it to the right place, which is gonna be down here. But the problem down here is we need to reverse it and push it down here. And there's no problem about that. We don't need to change anything except the path for the position. So we're gonna click U on my layer down here to bring up all of those like keyframe and just try to move everything together. So the right place maybe would be down here, but we just need to adjust the position of the first keyframe for the position down here. I need to adjust the opacity a little bit as well. I'm gonna duplicate it again and find the right place for it. So it'll be something like this. And again, find the right place. Again, do that one more time. Because around here, we make the speed a little bit more and make the keyframes closer to each other. We have to play with opacity as well. And just fade out this one a little bit sooner. So I'm gonna duplicate it again to around here. The thing is, we also need to adjust the position and the stuff down here. So right now we have 10 frames. I'm gonna turn it to 5 frames and just make the distance half of the previous distance. It'll be a little bit faster and it's exactly what I want. And again, we have one more special rules. This is gonna be the last rule that I'm gonna add in this video. Whenever you wanna move something out of the frame, make sure you're gonna use some type of graph, which is slow at the first and then fast at the end. At the middle of this one, because we have a rule that we need to make sure that we're not gonna have any rest time for our animation, we're gonna connect this null object to some new null object again. Maybe deparent it first and just move the anchor point to the right place, and again unparent it. And over here, I'm gonna do a position and rotation for this one. Go 40 frames forward and push this out of the frame. Again, grab the pen tool and give it a curve to make it much more better. Also, I'm gonna do rotation for this. So again, I'm gonna follow the rule that I mentioned and make some graphs slow at the first, fast at the end. So in this step, we have a premium motion, but we don't have a premium look. So let's make it look premium as well. So for the first step, I'm gonna make some separation between the crosser and this folder. I'm gonna click right on a layer of that crosser and just go inside the layer style and add a drop shadow to that. Open up the setting of drop shadow and maybe just fade it a little bit. And I'm also wanna turn down the opacity a bit. I'm also wanna add some deep glow to the crosser down here, and I'm gonna play with the threshold a bit. I'm also going to turn the radius to around 100 and only have it inside my crosser. And I think I like this crosser more. So then I'm going to use one of those important rules that I previously mentioned. Whenever you're trying to do the motion or you're going to make the premium look, you just need to think about the interaction. In my opinion, we need to add some stuff to the crosser down here, and also we need to add some stuff to the folder, and also we can add some stuff to the environment by itself as well. Let's just turn off the deep glow for the crosser. So I'm gonna grab the ellipse, do some circle down here, maybe select it again and make the anchor point center by using motion 4. Push it to the right place down here and maybe turn down the color to something really dark. And I'm gonna do some scale up for it over here. So I'm gonna go 40 frames forward and do a keyframe down here. Maybe at the first I'm gonna turn it to around 0, and over here I'm gonna turn it around 170 or stuff like that. And over here for the movement, I'm gonna use slow. And you can also find this plugin for completely free as well in my Discord channel. So I just want to apply some graph like this, which is pretty fast at the first and then slow at the end. And as you see, it'll be something like this, and it's pretty much good. If you see, it's completely steady down here and it's not following anything, but it has to follow the crosser down here. So for making sure that it's gonna follow everything, you just need to parent it to the crosser by itself. So over here, you see that it's gonna follow the crosser exactly like we want. So the next step would be mat it to the shape down here as well. But once we're doing that, we're gonna turn off the layer, so we're gonna turn it on again. So it'll be something like this, and it's exactly what we want, but I want to make it a little bit more actually. Again, apply the same graph to that, and I think around here it would be better if we just add some opacity to that as well. And at the first keyframe of the opacity, I think it would be better if we turn it to around 90 or even lower, around 80. And if you want, you can also add a fastbox blur and just fade it a bit. I think it would be much more better, and it's exactly what we want. We can also add some deep glow to this layer to make it a little bit more engaging. Cut the layer from down here, so let's just get back over here, just duplicate this layer, maybe deparent it, and also remove the tracking matte information from it. Maybe I'm gonna turn off the deep glow and the fastbox blur down here to be able to see the real circle down here. First of all, it would be better to have the circle be able to parent and matte it to the folder down here first. And also, I'm gonna matte it to this folder as well. And again, turn it back again. So we're gonna have the same exact things, but if I just turn this 0 and again apply this keyframe over here, so for make some separation down here, what I'm gonna do is just click on a color down here and turn the color of the crosser gradient something like pinkish, and for the folder gradient, I'm gonna turn it something like orange. And we just need to repeat it for all of these parts. And I'm gonna find the null object down here, which we have all the click information on it, and just hit U to bring up all of those information. Find the momentum of each of these clicking time and just grab a duplicate from these two, maybe push it top or bottom and just put it in the right place. But just make sure that when we're changing the rotation, so we're gonna find the right place for the folder, just make sure that we're gonna push it in the right place. Then we can easily duplicate it with Ctrl D again and push it to the top and put it in the right place. And after you've done everything and you've done the right timing, so like the orange shading, we just move them to the bottom of the crosser layer to make sure you're gonna have the separation. So what I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna make some shape like this and make it center with Ctrl Alt Shift Home and Ctrl Home. Then I can easily add a small action to that and play with the size. So I think this is gonna be awesome. But if I'm gonna be honest, I just want to turn the shading to something like 0. First of all, I'm gonna move it to the really bottom maybe I just want to play with them a bit. And let's do something else. So I'm gonna grab an ellipse tool down here and do another ellipse. Maybe center it out with the same shortcut, put it at the center of down here. But first of all, we need to mark the center down here and also push this to down there. First of all, we don't need any fill color, but we need a stroke and we need to turn down to something really high. So I'm gonna push this in the top of that layer, and I might need to change the color of the layers. So for this one, I might need to use pink. For this one, I might go for something a little bit different, like yellow. So let's cut it out from here and just play with the scale of this stroke down here. So I'm gonna do scale for over here, turn this 0, and then push it to around here maybe. Yeah, I think that would be great. So after I've done that, I'm gonna apply some graph like this by flow. So it'll be something like this. And maybe I'm gonna turn the opacity down to 0 around here, something like this. I'm also wanna rename it something like map, but actually I wrongly changed the color of this one. I'm gonna turn it to blue. The color, and also the map is in the wrong place. It should be on the top of the ball action. I'm just gonna cut this out from here, but I'm gonna continue this one and then turn the color of this one and just parent this layer to the map and then mat it to that map. Let me just move it to around here, which is a little bit slower first. If you want, you can add some fastbox color and give it a little bit of fade. And if you also want, you can play with the scale and stuff to be able to come up with something a little bit better. I'm also gonna push this around here, which we were doing the click. Duplicate it and push it around here again. And we can do this again and again and again. But again, around here, as long as we are getting close to that fast moment, we need to play with the keyframe as well. So I just want to select everything, just push them a little bit backward. So then again, I'm gonna duplicate this one and push it to the top. So just make sure after the rotation down to just select everything and push them around here. So let me find the right exact place that we're doing the click and just select the photo layer, which is going to be this layer, and grab these two. I'm going to put some point exactly down here and then do some other point around here. Make sure that I'm going to stabilize around it. So I can do some graphic down here. Hit U from my keyboard to bring up all of those keyframe data. So then I'm going to find the right keyframe, which is going to be related to this one. Let me find that. It's going to be this one, which is the first keyframe down here. So what I'm going to do, just copy this one and paste it exactly at the same keyframe structure that we had. And then at the middle keyframe, the only things that I have to do is just pushing it a little bit back. And exactly when we were doing this, you see we're going to have something. But the thing is, we can also add the bounce expression to Puppet Pen tool as well. I just need to copy this and paste it exactly at the right place. So sometimes we need to play with the distance that we did for all of these keyframes as well to be able to come up with the best result. So I'm going to do around here, stabilize around of it, and then easily do a keyframe for that. I'm going to hit U again to bring up these keyframes, find this one, which is going to be the last one, copy, and then place it exactly at the same spot. It's going to be something like this. The middle keyframe again will be something like this. And I'm also need to apply direction over here as well. And this is all you have to know for making some premium look and also premium motion, which is cool and also realistic. So if this video helped you even a little bit, don't forget that the best support from my channel would be a quick like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And like always, I'll see you in the next video.